This review has been brought to you in part by Main Irish Airsoft. Hey, welcome back to Oddie's Airsoft. This is the H&K MP5 SD6 SLV. That's a mouthful. SLV stands for Sportsline Value. So straight away in the title, that'll tell you what type of gun this is. This is designed for the guys starting off with their airsoft career, looking for something that's a little bit different from an M4, looking for something that's a little bit different from an AK, and still wanting a very CQB style piece, and that's what you have in the MP5. So this is made in Taiwan, so it's not a cheap Chinese knockoff, but you know, it's still a very, very budget piece. It's retailing at €169 at Main Irish Airsoft, and we think it's built by SNT by the fact that the gearbox is similar to the gearbox in the UMP and reminiscent of the Ares G36 gearbox. Now, this one's an interesting piece. It's full matte black ABS plastic, makes it for a very strong piece of equipment, but it's not going to stand up to massive abuse. Now, it has a interesting looking stock. It has a little sort of lever here which allows you to pull out, but it's on a one position stock. It's either out or it's in. There's no sort of multiple stop off points, but that makes it for a nice easy shoulder. Now I have to say, I've known guys to play with the MP5s. I actually quite like them, although I must admit if I was playing with an MP5 I probably would move up to a more pro line version rather than the sports line, but that's just me. I'm a bit of a tart no matter what I do. So this is fully licensed with H&K bits and pieces. Now most people, when they look at it, will go, oh, I don't really see the trades, and that's because they're very muted, they're very dull, they're very stylized, because that's what the actual real steel version has, and they've kept it identical to that. Magazine here is the standard MP5 mag, holding around 200 BBs. A full wind up will probably only release about 50 BBs, so you know, this is a real single shot gun, which allows you go into full auto if you need to. Now we've had a little chink around, because this is a SLV package, it means it comes with a battery and a charger. It comes with an 8.6, but you can, if you want, put in a 9.6 nickel metal hydride nunchuck in there. It fits perfectly, and it fits into that handguard just there. When you've got that in, it really does rank out the BBs. We reckon something between 18 and 19 BBs per second. It actually spits them out at a fair rate, which again would be very similar to the real steel version. You know, they are a quick firing gun. As I said, the hop unit can be accessed by pulling back this lever, and that gives you then access to this. It's an M4 AK hybrid. It's a sliding unit. It's very, very positive, and when it's set, it doesn't move. But it's not like the usual typical G36 or the typical M4. It's a kind of bit of a hybrid. Now, one thing I will say is, what happens an awful lot with guys, they love to think they're real gun ho, and they do the, you know, the slap, because you know it makes them look hardcore. If you do that, you're going to see your bolt catch fly off into the woods or around the CQB arena. These are made for the low end budget end of the market. These are designed for young guys starting off in airsoft, or guys who have their primary and would like a secondary piece but don't want to spend a packet on it. You need to put these back gently, because if you start slapping them down and letting them fly, they will break. That's a fact. We've seen it happen, and it's not pretty. So a very hard fix. Has a big suppressor on the front, and believe it or not, the barrel actually comes all the way out to the top of the suppressor, which makes it quite an accurate piece when it's flying. About 19 BBs per second. Obviously this is under the 1 joule for our jurisdiction. These guns sold elsewhere obviously are tuned differently to play in other jurisdictions. As I said, I'm not a huge MP5 fan, but I do happen to think this is quite a nice looking one. And when you usually pick up a sports line and it's made fully of plastic, you do get that impression that they are real plasticky. And I have to say, this one is one of those guns that doesn't kind of feel that way. The type of nylon fibre they've used in the making of the body, it stays kind of coldish, so it feels more metal-like. Because it's a very flat matte colouring, there's no shine off it. It again doesn't lend it to looking cheap. So if you're sort of looking to spend sub 200 on a gun and go even further, it's only 169, which gives you a battery and a charger. It's actually quite a good ask. It's not an expensive piece, but you know, you're going to get what you pay for in life, and that's why most of us serious airsofters tend to go for more high-end pieces. But the market has been one lately of, you know, people looking for very low-end stuff. We've looked at a number of H&K guns recently. We've looked at some really high-end pieces, very expensive pieces, and they are fab. And these are kind of the sort of starter, you know, entry-level points. And they're not bad for it. Comes with the usual typical hook here for you know, putting your sling in, or your, you know, strap to hang around your neck. Yeah, all in all, a solid performer. It does perform very well. Talking to Chris in Main Irish Airsoft, you know, this is the newest one out. They've had previous versions of this before, and they're not a gun that tend to fail very readily. This is the new version, so they don't have a track record, but going on the insights that he's already looked at, he thinks they are probably an improvement of the previous versions that they've had, so therefore he sees no issues down the line. But you have to bear in mind, it is a budget gun. So that's a look at the H&K MP5 SD6 SLV. What a mouthful. If you're in the market for an MP5, you want something different for your close quarter battling, definitely check it out. It's worth a look. It's a nice piece of kit. And that's Oddie's Airsoft for today, and we'll check you out in the next video shortly. This review has been brought to you in part by Main Irish Airsoft.